On this video, we'll give you 3 wide receivers that you could draft in your fantasy football league late in drafts to help you win your league. And stay to the end of the video and we'll give you 2 bonus wide receivers. I'm Adam Seslowsky, and thanks for tuning back into Roster Watch. If you've participated in dynasty startup drafts, best ball drafts, or even mock drafts, it is clear that quality fantasy wide receivers are available almost any point of the draft. Wide receiver strategy is going to vary more than any other position depending on your league format. In best ball, where you don't need to call the shot, so to speak, you could draft more volatile players. In traditional managed leagues, you want to draft wide receivers that have more week-to-week projectable production. The ability to set it and forget it with wide receivers is an underrated tactic and advantage in fantasy football. Let's look at different parts of the draft. Starting in around round 5, Adam Thielen on the Vikings strikes us as an immediate value. Adam Thielen finishes the wide receiver 10 last year. Strong season was mostly due to his 14 touchdowns that he banked for you. It's easy to proclaim that his 14 scores will regress, but the question is, regress to what? Adam Thielen has had seasons where he's had almost double-digit touchdowns before. Reasonable projection systems have Adam Thielen earning around 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns in an 18-game season. He's getting drafted as the wide receiver 21 in round 5. He's likely to return top 15 wide receiver value. He's one of the best wide receiver values if you attack running backs early in your draft. As we get later in the draft, around the double-digit rounds, round 10, Brandin Cooks of the Houston Texans sticks out. Drafters are ignoring the wide receiver 1 on the Houston Texans. Admittedly, the Houston Texans have had one of the worst off seasons in the history of the NFL. Bad trades, Deshaun Watson's future is murky, and non-optimal draft picks at certain points of the draft all are items on this list. All of that accounted for, the Texans are still an NFL team, and they're still going to play 17 games, and they're still going to pass the ball 600 plus times. Brandin Cooks is likely to be the most targeted wide receiver on the roster. He can safely be projected for 120 targets. That should translate to about 75 catches, 1,100 yards, and more or less 6 touchdowns. Getting an every week starter in the double-digit rounds represents a massive value. Moving towards the later part of your drafts in rounds 13 through 16, Josh Reynolds, the newly acquired wide receiver on the Tennessee Titans. His ADP is in round 13 right now. The Titans let Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith walk in free agency. They vacated about 130 targets between the two of them. Reynolds should be a full-time player who could reasonably see 90 targets this season. If A.J. Brown were to miss any games, Reynolds could reasonably become the focus of the passing game. Reynolds is an excellent value, be it with some extra risk. Now that you've stayed for the end of the video, we're going to give you 2 bonus wide receivers. Bryan Edwards on the Raiders, ADP round 15. Unfair expectations were placed on Bryan Edwards in his rookie season. He fell to round 3 of the real NFL draft because he was coming off an injury during his pre-draft process. With last year's most productive Raider wide receiver Nelson Agholor off the roster, there is reason to place a bet at his ADP on Edwards to be the primary beneficiary. The second bonus wide receiver we're going to give you is rookie Nico Collins, drafted by the Houston Texans. ADP undrafted. RosterWatch co-founder Byron Lambert was screaming from the mountaintops earlier this offseason that Nego Collins was not getting the respect he deserves as a pro prospect. Collins certainly looks the part as a prototypical NFL alpha. At 6'4" and 215 pounds, Nego Collins is the biggest wide receiver in this class. Reports are that the team is expecting Nico Collins to contribute right away. If Collins gets the opportunity, he will be startable in fantasy. An epic value with the last pick of your fantasy football draft. He will surely move up. If you're doing early best balls or dynasty startups, he's a player to target. Okay, RosterWatch Nation, that's it for today. Remember to like and subscribe to get notifications when we put out new videos. And leave us a comment. Let us know which wide receivers you think are the best values in 2021. Until next time, goodbye.